Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to RGV Community Health Hour. This is DJ Kalicha Kid, and you're listening to Vaquero Radio, the Valley Student Station. Just a quick reminder, the views expressed on RGV Community Health Hour are for informational purposes only and do not constitute medical advice. Be sure to consult your primary care provider for all your healthcare needs. On today's show, I have a very special guest, Dr. Sylvia Robles, Assistant Professor of Practice here at UTRGV. So Dr. Robles, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here with you.
Yeah, no, so just a little bit of background, so for the listeners can know how we met. So, I want to say I met you almost as soon as I moved down here. It's probably been easily 2 years, so probably closer to 3 years. And I met her at the Center of Innovation and Commercialization in Weslaco, UTRGV's CIC. And Dr. Robles has been a blessing in my life. She's so awesome. She does so much for the students. She does so much for the university. And so thank you again for coming on the show, Dr. Robles. And if you don't mind, just, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, and kind of your educational background and your journey of how you ended up here at UTRGV.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And yes, it has been a pleasure meeting you and adopting you through the Adopt a Startup program in fall 2023. Oh my gosh, time flies.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit about my background. I grew up in Torreón, Coahuila. I'm a Lagunera, yes. Arriba el Santos. And my journey started at learning really a lot about sustainability without even myself knowing.
Mm-hmm.
I was learning about it through my grandma.
Oh wow.
My grandma was a huge impact. She made a huge impact in my life as she taught me at early age how to sew and how to knit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember I was 6 years old and I was dressing my dolls.
Oh nice.
And making, the little cunitas where the baby dolls will sleep.
Mm-hmm.
I learned how to do the mattress,
Mm-hmm.
and with recycled materials.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned how to recycle my own clothing and redone it in a
Mm-hmm.
stylish way.
Nice.
Back at the time. So I learned that, and by cooking, she also taught me how to cook. And I remember doing gorditas every Sunday for all the family, and even until I said, "Grandma, my hands hurt," and she was like, "Oh my gosh," because we used to do like 200 gorditas.
Wow.
But I learned the fact that the family is the core of everything.
Mm-hmm.
The family is what makes a life sustainable
Mm-hmm.
in all terms. And by cooking, homemade things and using materials or ingredients that were from the nature, most of it. Because back then, we didn't have so much chemicals or stuff in our food. It was
Mm-hmm.
more natural.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew that by using the nature's ingredients or utilizing the benefits of what we had at hand, even though we were middle class, we were not rich, so we have to cook on our own in order to feed,
Mm-hmm.
the family. So then when of course at that age, I also saw my mom starting her own micro business.
Wow.
So that's why it is my passion about helping entrepreneurs, because I saw my mom struggling.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't want to leave the family, but she grew a micro business into a huge business that will pay for college for 3 kiddos, one in the US and then of course high school, and then I was in elementary, but I had the luxury to be enrolled in a private school.
Wow.
Which makes a difference because unfortunately back then public school in Mexico was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also something that I appreciate a lot because I was enrolled in a Catholic school.
Okay.
And that grew up brought into me the spirituality of the Jesus, that is helping others, serving others, and that's what has shaped my life since I recall, because I remember being in the streets collecting money so I could fundraise money for poor kids that they were in a home, and they didn't have a transportation, so I was raising money for them to get transportation to go to places.
Nice.
And I asked my high school friends to join me on these endeavors, and here I was collecting clothing and house by house, not even caring. Of course, the schools that I was, it was prestigious. It was, not everybody will be able to pay that type of tuition. So all my friends were pretty rich. I wasn't, but most of them were.
Wow.
But the thing is, I learned how to bring them into and make them conscious about being more like donating their time, not their money, but their time in order. So I was a risk taker, as you know me. I take risks, very uncalculated risks most of the time, but it was to serve others. So that's what has been shaping what I am today, correct? Because all the programs that you know, you have been a VIP Idea Lab participant, you have been an Adopt Startup participant. You know that my career is all about the students learning with real life experiences through amazing mentors, entrepreneurs that also need the help from the students. Sure. And so we get as a community in cross-disciplinary disciplines, correct? And bringing the best of everyone, like making the students feeling amazing. So the last thing that shaped my life regarding sustainability and serving others was going in a study abroad. And I'm always promote this to my students because that was my first time. I went to Newfoundland, Canada.
Wow.
As a high schooler. It was my last year of high school. I interrupted my high school in Colegio Pereira in Torreón, Coahuila. In order to go, I was 17 years old, and I went all the way. My mom didn't even realize where I was until I took her there. But she said I was sent to the end of the world. She didn't want me to go because back then things were pretty bad in terms of drugs and stuff like. And as a teenager, and well, the type of teenager I was, like very, outgoing and not fearless, really fearless. And so she was a little bit concerned, but I came back really transformed.
Wow.
I was in an environment in where it didn't matter the clothing, the brand, the car, the house, which in my original hometown, it was a thing. Like you were discriminated based on the type of car you drove or the type of house, how big is your house, is how important you are. A very materialistic society, and I consider myself very, very, like, I was so conceited, like I had to dress differently every day, or I pushed even my mom or my family to the limit in terms of I need to dress well because I'm going to this school that anyways. When I went there, I realized this type of society that is shaped by many challenges, like minus 40 degrees Celsius in the winter. I saw an iceberg coming down in front of my window and crossing, frozen. And
that's about survival at that point, right? Just
survival.
Layer up and
It was a survival. I didn't know. I learned so many things, but this was a huge a community that was bold on protecting the environment. There were people fishing, people working on the woods with wood and everything. That was the base of this community, and this province, Newfoundland and Labrador. And even the government, a social democracy, stop it, and they will pay and nurture the people, the community, by sending enough money to survive.
Oh wow!
But not to destroy the environment. First lesson about how sustainability has been something that is not just because UN created the 17,
Yeah, yeah. The pillar, or what is it?
The 17 SDGs,
Yeah.
Sustainable Development Goals.
Mhm.
And so I learned also that you need to take care about your food to care for the future, correct?
Yes,
And
for
then like how they froze. They work a lot in the summer in order to prepare for the winter, like preventive, correct?
Yeah.
And then everybody have the same. Everybody was middle class. Everybody have the same type of cars. So that wasn't a thing. I learned to love myself
That's awesome.
from who I was, what I had in my inside that I could offer to others. And when I came back to Torreon, I was a total different person. My mom would beg me, hey, buy another dress. You have been using the same dress for the quinceañera or the parties for the whole year. And that shaped my life until what I consider myself being today. And what brought me to the valley.
Well, real quick before we get to the valley, because when I first met you, you said you were living in California before you moved here. Is that right? So.
Yes, that's when I was working for Banamex in Tijuana, and I was supervising 4 different states in Mexico.
Wow.
I was really young back then, and to have this type of leadership
responsibility.
or responsibility,
Yeah.
because I was in charge of 5 different products: leasing, factoring, floor plan, foreign exchange, and letter of credits in 4 different states in Mexico. I was the director of the whole Northwest Division, but then, well, things happened. I got married. I got pregnant in my honeymoon, and then I was kind of unable to go back and forth because I was living in Tijuana. Then I moved to Del Mar in San Diego.
Okay.
But I before that I wanted to finish my master's, so I went to USD, University of San Diego, to finish 6 classes and open the first exchange program with Tec de Monterrey and USD.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was a pioneer in bringing students my entrepreneurial, because I learned from mom and dad. My dad started his own business also. My mom, since I was a little girl, and so that was kind of seeing the entrepreneurial spirit. And I remember myself having my own informal business, selling pencils or Hello Kitty stuff, and even organizing a event planner for kids when I was 10 years old, and I was earning my own money because of organizing dancing for other kids' parties and it's stuff like that. I did many crazy things, but then I moved. Actually, I was hired by California Commerce Bank as a vice president of customer service and patrimonial services back then, and I started also. So I moved to Orange County.
Okay.
And I started my first real formal business.
Oh, wow.
Startup based on developing software, bringing Mexican developers to develop software before the famous Y2K, when all the world was gonna disappear because we didn't have the 4 digits for the 2000. So it was kind of a visionary to start a business on it, and I was the second Mexican company doing that in the US.
Wow.
So yes, I started Casper Technologies. It was my idea. Everybody thought I was crazy. I suffer a lot because I didn't have all the tools and things that now I teach to my students or to the entrepreneurs participating in the Adopt a Startup program. However, it was a blessing because I learned how to negotiate with different countries and basically to understand the cultural barrier. That's what my first hit before coming to the Valley, how we are discriminated based on the race, correct?
Yeah.
So
I actually just had this conversation with another grad student, actually with my coworker. But yeah, it's kind of sad that even in a predominantly Hispanic area, you can even still be discriminated against. So, I mean, I can share the story. You know, I don't want to waste any time telling a story that, you know, it's not super relevant, and I'd rather give the time to you, so we can talk after about what we were talking about. So,
of course,
ahead and
I would
continue.
love to hear about it, but I have this story. Actually, I was hired by California Commerce Bank
Mhm.
because of my perfect Spanish.
Oh, okay.
No, they couldn't hire anybody. I came to the US with an L1 visa, which is an executive visa, like for the first time legally, because they couldn't find anyone with my credentials. Like I have a master's, I had a financing background,
Yeah.
I had
All that
7 years
experience.
of working in the
Yeah.
bank. Everybody had that, but nobody had the perfect Spanish and English, correct?
Mhm.
My English wasn't perfect though, but I managed to make myself, you know, understood. So that was my competitive advantage, speaking Spanish. And then when I started this business, bringing Mexican developers to U.S. companies, my first time I had to give it for free because they couldn't believe or understand that the Mexicans had this power of developing software. They were all into Asian and India and Pakistan. They were the gurus back then. And so once they saw the abilities, the functionality of these developers, but it was really bad. Like I was almost in background. I was still working at the bank while launching my business, like many entrepreneurs nowadays, because you cannot have the luxury of quitting your job because
exactly.
Otherwise you will be in red numbers, correct?
Yeah.
And I
that's why you have to wait till your business makes as much money as your work, so that way you can leave your job and pursue your, you know, your passion full time, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So based on your background, it's a thing, and when I had been really invested on making sure my classroom is a environment, a space where everybody is welcome, especially those who feel like I have a Hispanic heritage, but I cannot even mention about it because I remember my son when joining to his bachelor, he decided not to speak Spanish because he won't be discriminated against, thinking that he maybe will not be a good teammate to have. So he continued just speaking English. And I said, and I'm very happy that now RGV has been fostering all of us, faculty, staff, and students, in fostering that big advantage, which gave me a great salary and great opportunity in California because of my bilingualism. And so that's something that also shaped my understanding, because I, to be honest, I didn't have any experience on teaching. Like, of course, I train all my I train my employees,
but not like a formal classroom setting.
But I have never been exposed, or never thought I was gonna end up in the marvelous environment of teaching, of sharing my experience, my knowledge with others.
Awesome. And so I guess this will be a good quick stopping point. So we're gonna take a quick music break, everyone, and we'll be right back. So stay tuned. Thanks. All right, everyone. Thanks for staying tuned in. DJ Calija Kid back here with Dr. Sylvia Robles. So, Dr. Robles, okay, so now, if you don't mind continuing the story about, you know, your transition from California over here to the Valley.
Perfect, yes. Well, it was a challenging transition. Actually, first I made a stop in Mexico because I because of personal situation, very critical situation, personal. I have to go back to Monterrey, where I opened my first subsidiary for the company I opened back in California, and it was magical because it was then when I went to visit my alma mater Universidad de Monterrey.
Okay.
You
Oh,
went-
wow.
Yeah, UDEM.
So I'm sure they welcomed you with open arms and to see your, you can talk to the current students and yeah, I'm sure that was
Well,
awesome.
actually, I talked to the director of the program,
Mhm.
and he said, no, yeah, it was a great welcome, and Sylvia, thank you because you know all the things you
Mhm.
finished your masters in
Mhm.
at USD, Tech de Monterrey, blah blah blah, and you open your own business, you have this experience and the banking experience, and that was it. I went home, I remember, in Monterrey, and then I received a phone call. Sylvia, do you want to teach? I said, I have never thought. I don't have that experience. He said, yes, you do, and you will be a great professor at UDEM. I said, okay, when do I start? Monday. This was a
Oh.
Friday. I said, done.
Oh, wow.
So it was dramatic back then, and I was just thinking. I had 2 days to prepare my first syllabus. I was gonna teach international negotiation, which I was
Oh,
passionate
wow.
about, and I had a
Awesome.
lot of experience. And because my focus on my master was about international business,
Mhm.
so I developed some skills on it, and because of the company that I opened, I had the opportunity to negotiate with people from Russia, from Germany, from India,
Wow.
from different places across the globe. So I said, yes, I'm fully prepared. I have the experience,
Mhm.
but I don't have the pedagogy. I don't have, I don't know how to teach. But I
Mhm.
remember I thought, what did I miss when I was a college student? And it was practice.
Mm.
So all my classes since I started teaching back in 2002, oh yes, I'm old. It has been focusing on how can I bring the real world experiences to my students. So I
Mhm.
created these simulations, the international negotiation table simulation. I made
Wow.
my students dress in the country that we were addressing for each of the negotiations,
Cool.
5 in total in the semester, and expose them. We used to go to the restaurant if I was a Japanese, if it was a Middle East, if it was, a European country. I took them to the environment.
Yeah.
It's important, and I loved it. It was my baby class. So I taught that class in Spanish and in English. It was my first time teaching in English. And so I developed this skill, correct? And my passion for teaching. So that's how I started in the teaching environment. Then I went back to Torreon, my hometown, and started this program about helping companies. Yes, I was working at Iberoamericana Torreon and so many other universities at the same time, because it was a challenging time back then, and my focus was saving my son, correct? Keeping my son with me. So I have to teach like 7 classes
Wow.
during the week, 7 different universities, schools. I taught
Wow.
junior high, high school, and college,
Mhm.
even master classes
Wow.
simultaneously. Correct? Yeah, it became my core, so I could have quality time for my family, for my son.
Mhm.
And I went back home, after so many years traveling around the world, and coming back home. It was kind of hard, but the education field gave me the opportunity to start helping companies. So that's when in 2007 I started formalizing my Adopt a Startup program,
Okay.
and
Wow.
helping companies. And in 2 years, I was able to adopt more than 83, 47 trademarks.
Wow.
And because I got specialized in intellectual property,
Mhm.
4 patents and 3 utility patents, from which I'm a co-PI in 2 of them.
Wow.
And to learn that, yes, the students have the capability to really bring their best to the entrepreneurs, and micro entrepreneurs have the ability to innovate, because
Mhm.
everybody told me that's a no, it's not gonna work, you're crazy again.
Yeah.
I have always received a no, and my lesson to everyone is don't listen when you receive a no. Take the strength and the courage to go for your dreams, pursue them,
Mhm.
because for every no I got, I have have been seeing many yes after it, like many people benefiting
exactly.
from every no.
Yeah, and that's the story of a lot of entrepreneurs. You know, they go to pitch to an investor, and the investor says no, and a lot of them get discouraged and they stop. But then the ones that succeed, they'll pitch to 1,000 investors, and it might be the 1,001st that says yes, but it's about never, you know, what I tell people is don't close the door on your own face, right?
Exactly.
Like if somebody's gonna apply for that job, apply for that promotion,
Exactly.
apply for everything and anything, like don't limit yourself. If they're gonna reject you, let them reject you, right? So
Exactly.
and then
And
that doesn't mean you give up either. You know, you just keep trying, you keep applying, you keep, you know, knocking on your manager's door about that promotion and
pursuing your dream
and showing that you're capable of that position and yeah.
And prepare to fail. It's okay to fail.
Yeah,
That's what I teach in my classrooms too, you know. Sometimes the first sessions in my class is chaos. I chaos. Deliberately. Chaos. So they feel like how to live in the entrepreneur's life for one day, for 1 hour, you know. And I make them to be frustrated. I frustrate my students. Yes, I do. I do that in purpose. But that's about life. How do you raise after many no's and many challenges, many situations happen in your life, but you still have to have keeping a dream in your life. That's something that we need to always consider. And the hope, correct? The hope. So I decided to pursue my PhD, and back then in 2007, and then I remember asking my son, hey, buddy, it's two of us against the world. Of course, my mom and dad helping me all the time, and my family surrounding me through the challenging time that I had to go through. After a really bad divorce and, you know, kidnapping situation and violence, I went through all type of violence that you can think of. I experienced it, and so my son. So I wanted to provide the best quality of life for my son, for my family, as I was capable of. And starting a PhD will give me the opportunity to teach in the master classes for graduate students. And provide a better, decent, you know, bringing home a better salary, because teaching in Mexico is not rewarded. Actually, you have to be passionate in order, but it gives you the opportunity to also work in different environments and continue your work. So I created Adopt a Startup in 2007. I started my PhD, and it became these nurturing companies, helping students.
And your PhD,
my PhD dissertation.
And so it was in international business as well, your PhD?
No,
or?
It was top management and administration and top management.
Okay.
Back in Universidad Autónoma de Coahuila. So that was the first time I was studying in my hometown in Coahuila, because I was living there.
Okay.
Yeah. So and this Adopt a Startup was my first publication about the companies I adopted,
that's
and
cool.
That's the story about Adopt a Startup. I was born
really
in
awesome.
Mexico, collaborating with 3 different counties: Lerdo, Gómez Palacio, and Torreón. And I was able to get from the government 50% of all the trademarks and patents.
Wow.
So the entrepreneurs wouldn't have such a burden, because it's expensive.
Yeah.
But 50% was paid by the government. So
nice.
my dream was when after many years of being so successful with Adopt a Startup and helping the community and teaching and doing so well, violence started happening in Torreón, and I didn't want that for my son.
Yeah,
and
course.
I said, well, he is a U.S. citizen, born in California, and maybe I didn't want to come back, but I said it's time, because my residency was about to expire. So I said, okay, I came back to the U.S. and with nothing, because only an opportunity to teach GED students.
Wow.
Yes, that's how I started. I was offered, because I was doing my equivalence of my studies.
Oh, okay.
I requested it here from a company here in the Valley.
Oh, so that's what brought you to the
Through a
Valley.
professor that was in Torreón,
Oh,
in
wow.
Ibero. He was in charge of promoting this company in the valley. That's how God's, Diosidencias, God's channel our lives. I was getting to be prepared to come to the U.S. I didn't know I was gonna arrive in the valley, but this guy did all the paperwork for all my transcripts and everything to be evaluated.
Nice.
And that's how they offered me this temporary part-time job. And I took the risk. I closed my eyes. I say thank you to Ibero for a formal job I was a manager there. I had really good opportunities. And closed my eyes. I have my own home, my property, everything. I left family, everything behind.
Yeah, wow.
Took my bag, my son, once again, start from scratch, and started as an E-Lab, as a GED instructor. That was my story, starting here with, you will laugh, but salary wasn't enough. I started renting a room from one of my students of the GED.
Huh.
She offered because she was in need. She had 3 kids and she needed the extra money and I didn't know where to start. So I went to the first question I asked, which is the best school system district here around, and they recommended Los Fresnos. So that's why I moved to Los Fresnos. But it was basically again another miracle because we started it there. Then I moved to an apartment. Then of course, but I couldn't find a job, and my temporary job lasted for 4 months.
Oh, wow.
So here I go, and I got a teller position at First National Bank.
Oh, wow.
But then I started in November, and in 2011 I arrived here in 2011. But they didn't want to hire me because you have been a vice president in California. You are going to take my job away from me. I said, I just need to feed my baby.
Yeah.
Just give me the job. And I started as a teller. And this is a story I share with my students because sometimes you have to go down to start over.
Yeah.
But never miss the opportunity that it will open many doors.
Yeah.
And actually working at First National Bank that then was bought by First National Bank, which is one of our donors here at GTRV. I work as an assistant to the director of the whole lower valley in the banking, and because I have this previous experience in banking, I was able to really learn fast and learn the language. I couldn't understand when they were speaking in Spanish here in the valley.
Oh, wow.
It was a different Spanish.
Yeah, Tex-Mex, right?
Yes. So I had to relearn and adapt and be resilient, earning, I'm not afraid to say, $8.20 per hour.
Wow.
But then,
wow.
That's how it started. But I said, God.
With a PhD and all that
With a PhD, with a master's, with being a vice president in a U.S. bank. With everything, I still said,
yeah, I got it.
This is it.
Yeah.
So for 4 months, but the good thing is one of the other tellers quit. So for 2 months, I worked like 70 hours. So I was able to at least, provide for my family again. So yes, challenges will come, but it's the way you overcome those challenges. So I started my jewelry business because I couldn't, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And that gave me again the sense of meeting people and networking.
Exactly.
And I was earning more money with my jewelry because I learned how to do the jewelry back in Mexico with my jewelry business that on my formal job. But it was how to sell, how to price.
Yeah.
The pricing is raised here in the valley that taught me through this jewelry company of my own. Sylvia is art, and that brought me here. And what brought me to UTRGV? Well, I was in my chair at the bank, assisting Mr. Villanueva. Back then, he was the director of the first Plains Capital Bank in Morrison, and Luis Torres. I don't know if you remember, he already retired, but he was in charge of bringing donations and companies
Okay.
to the classrooms and everything. He visited and asked me for a donation. So yes, of course. And because I was helping, you know, my boss
Mhm.
and all of that stuff. And then he saw an acrylic. My brother gave me an acrylic that said, Dr. Sylvia Susana Robles Cardinal, back in Mexico,
Mhm.
you have those acrylics that you put in your desk,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
And he said, are you a doctor? Yes. And tell me more about what are you doing here? And I said, that's what I ask God every single day. And but His ways, I'm faithful. Something is gonna happen. And he said, do you know that's the reason why I'm here? Two universities are merging, and we're forming a new university, RGV. That was
Wow.
January 2015. I said, really, really? And I said, why don't you apply, go and be? And that's how my dream
Wow.
came through. I just applied to, you know, and I was hired. I'm
Mhm.
very blessed that I was hired by the Robert C. Bacar College of Business and Entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
bringing all the experience that I have with the Adopt a Startup and the
Mhm.
teaching. I have 7 years of teaching experience. And so I said, okay, here we go. So it was 5 years that I didn't teach, and that's when I realized I want to continue in the education field.
Mhm.
Nothing can bring me more joy and more passion than
Mhm.
teaching. And it was a miracle because in 2015 I have here my 10th anniversary. Yes, I am also 10 years that I've been working at UTRGV, and that's how I end up
Okay.
in this university.
Wow, that's quite the journey, Dr. Robles. I mean, and it's so great to hear it because, you know, we've talked in passing, you know, of course, when we see each other, it's always at some event and we're getting pulled 1,000 different ways and doing different things. So it's really nice to sit down and actually get the background of, of how you ended up here. So we're going to take another quick music break, everyone, and we'll be right back. So stay tuned. Thanks. All right, everyone, and we're back with Dr. Robles. So, Dr. Robles, if you don't mind now, really, you know, the biggest, you know, really, when I first became the host of this show, I immediately wanted, you know, reached out to you because I wanted you to share your story of being, you know, diagnosed with cancer and going through that journey. Because when you told it to me, it was just so, I guess mind blowing would be a better word, you know, because I wouldn't say unbelievable because stuff like that does happen very often. But to hear your story, it really took me away. So if you don't mind sharing with, you know, with our listeners, you know, just tell us about, you know, that journey that you went through and, you know, feeling sick and then eventually getting diagnosed and recovering, of course. So
Yes, thank you so much for allowing me to talk about it. It is hard, it is challenging, but it's really an honor to be able to be somebody who can share these type of stories with others.
Mhm.
So you could also have the opportunity to see that there will always be a helping hand, an angel
Mhm.
in this journey, and that you're not alone on this,
Mhm.
correct?
Mhm.
And so, well, I was being really happy. I was, you know, being recognized at UTRGV for helping the community on sustainability. I was being really, really going or doing well in terms of my teaching and my Adopt a Star program going well. But guess what? I started feeling really bad, like around November 2021. I was started to feel like I couldn't even stand myself.
Mhm.
I have all these hormone changes,
Wow.
and I was desperate. I was even screaming most of the time, like
Wow.
yelling at the people I love the most, and looking myself. I didn't recognize myself as I couldn't control myself.
Wow.
And then I started having a bleeding, correct?
Mhm.
Small bleeding, but then I was, okay, this is weird because I was very, you know, regular, and so I was, this is not good,
Not
correct?
normal, yeah.
This is not normal. So I reached out to my life doctor back in Torreon, Coahuila, who is a surgeon. However, he also practiced homeopathic. And that was the only medicine since I recall, since I was 18 years old, who took away all my allergies, because I have always suffered from allergies, bronchitis, allergic bronchitis, and so on. And actually prevented, I wasn't able to, I have polycystic ovaries. I suffer from that since I was really young. I couldn't, have babies or anything, and yet I have my one baby. And the thing is, I was feeling miserable, but the medical system, it's hard, the health system, in which I had my appointment until March the following year.
Oh, wow.
So I told my mom, I have to wait. There's nothing else. I just needed to wait. But when I finally had my appointment, and I'm talking about this because this is important. It is, I want you to go and screen yourself. Go and test. Do not delay on this,
because the early detection is really the best, prevention. Really.
Exactly, the early detection, and be stubborn. Fight for your cause, because I had to fight. It was terrible, but to say it, but I had to fight to get screened.
Wow.
Even though I have a background of 2 already benign tumors being that the doctor had already extracted.
Oh, like biopsied or removed?
He removed.
Oh, okay.
He already had removed 2, one in 2016, one in 2018, but it was in a different place or anything. But even though I have this background, he didn't want to do ultrasound, for example.
Wow.
Even though I said I'm bleeding, I don't feel myself, I have to beg. Then I got the ultrasound and nothing came out. And he was gonna, see, I told you, you have nothing. I said, yet I feel terrible. I don't feel myself. Something is off. Because like I said, I was very regular. I knew my body. I knew everything about my body. And then he said, well, my doctor back in Mexico insist, and that you're still blind, the blood and everything. So I kept insisting, even though I got rejected, to do something else, until finally the doctor decided to do the biopsy. When I went and get my results, which I was ready going to a launching of a women's celebration, or a new group for women, etc. In Mission. I already had arranged with my friends, my best friends, to go over there. They were already waiting for me, and I decided, I said, hey, the doctor couldn't look at me to the eyes. He couldn't. I said, I'm sorry, but you do have serous endometrial carcinoma. And my first question was, can I still travel? So I had a conference coming out with Women's in Business Education, and fast approaching. I said, this was May the 17th in 2022. And he said, no, you're not understanding. Well, of course I didn't understand. It wasn't in my radar. Carcinoma, I didn't know what that was or anything. So and he said, you do have cancer. I said, huh? And you didn't want to screen me, and you didn't want to, So I couldn't even believe I had cancer. Yet I went to the party with my friends because I couldn't deal with the information. I couldn't digest it, and I wasn't able to tell my mom what I had.
Wow.
So we went, and these are my sisters, the sisterhood that made me go through this journey. I wouldn't have been able to go through this without them, because they were the first listening to me, finding out what I had. Yet I was there dancing, because I thought maybe this is my last dance, maybe because you don't know what to think, and you don't know what to expect. It's like
it makes you appreciate life that much more, because you don't know, and that's kind of how of course, going through a cancer journey is it's going to be a unique journey to each individual person, you know, in the same manner. But when I was deployed to Afghanistan, I mean, you know, we're losing, you know, men left and right. You know, I lost some friends, and you just never know when it was going to be your turn. And so, no matter how tired I was, I always made sure I went and got my hot meal. I always went and made sure I showered. I wanted to feel like a human being, even though I was out there being an animal. And so, yeah, it makes you kind of just appreciate the small, like a hot shower, like, you know, and hot food. Like,
yes.
It's just.
I remember that day. I even appreciate the glass of water I was drinking, being with my friends, and having this circle of friendship, loyal friends who are there with you through the rainy days, which is very hard. That's when I recognized who were my real friends, my real friends, and who were not through the rainy days, correct? Because everybody's with you when it's sunny, but what about if when it's raining? And this was a heavy rain, and so we went back, and I was able to kind of digest and being able to give this information to my mom. Back then, my dad had been accepted to a nursing home, so I was struggling for him, and of course, I never let him know I was diagnosed with cancer. But I understood this type of cancer was very aggressive and very expensive. And I didn't know anything about it because this serous endometrium is in the edge, so you cannot see it. That's why nothing come out in the ultrasound or in the labs until they did the biopsy. And because it is so extreme, I noticed everything ran so fast, because once this May 17th, by May 29th, they got me the
biopsy, or
no?
Oh, they had already biopsied you.
Yeah, they already gave me the.
Oh yeah, because that's why you
they
got the
me with
diagnosis.
the oncologist.
Okay,
the oncologist, gynecologist in Edinburgh, and it was too fast because you have to wait sometimes like a year. That's another thing that, hey, you're sick now.
Yeah, exactly.
But and then you need to wait. Like I waited 4 months in order to get screened, you know. And I was fortunate. I was stage 1. What if I would be more advanced? I wouldn't be here talking to you, because the life expectancy of this cancer is 3 months if you don't get treated. This is a very new type of cancer that Dr. Schenkenberg, who has been, because that's the other thing. Everybody told me go to Houston, go to somewhere else.
Anderson,
and I am one of the few who decided, well, not the few, because there are many patients with cancer, which crushes my heart to see the clinic full, the oncologist clinic full of people, and I realized I decided to stay because of I will be able to still take care of my dad at the nursing home. And with dialysis, he went to dialysis three times a day. So I said, no, I'm staying here. So I went and see Dr. Herrera, and he said, well, this is it. We need to do surgery, take and eliminate every possibilities, and do the full hysterectomy, and just eliminate any chances of this spreading, because it's on the edge. It's really easy to spread, either to the lungs or to any other organ. So June the 13th, after my trip, because he allowed me to go to my trip, to the conference. You know, it was a total different situation, because I was conscious that may have been my last conference. And it was dramatic, but yet I have the hope, and I kept being enthusiastic and optimistic and going on with my life as I could, and smiling and bringing the joy.
And most importantly, teaching still, right?
That's the other story. Yes, because I got the surgery June 13, 2 days before my birthday. I was in the hospital, and that's when I realized, oh my gosh, I have 2 months for recovery. Yet when I received my results for the CT, the PET scan, I had metastasized again.
Wow.
Even though
Removed.
they remove everything.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh my gosh, this is really bad.
Wow.
It was 2 months, and I had already,
Hmm.
you know, those cancer cells in my
Mhm.
body.
Wow.
So they rushed me to get
Chemo.
the catheter.
Catheter?
The catheter,
Yeah.
yes. And I almost died there because I'm allergic to anesthesia, to
Wow.
penicillin, to sulfa, to so many things. And then right away in August, I started my first chemo, and I remember I rejected to cut my hair. Well, I cut it short, but I didn't shave it
Mhm.
because I said I have a hope, because I had another friend, another colleague here at RGV who was also experiencing another type of cancer, and she didn't lose her hair. So I said
Okay.
maybe,
Yeah.
and she was an angel to me because she helped me. She was kind of guiding me on the next steps.
Mhm.
But I remember crying in the bathroom
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
when I was seeing all my hair
Oh.
falling down. It's not the fact that you're losing your hair. It is anything else that you're losing. Because I was saying, I always pray to God and say, God, yes, it's okay if I lose my hair, my eyelash,
Mhm.
my everything, but allow me not to lose my smile. That was my motto. Let me
Oh.
not to lose my smile, because I was given the opportunity. I have beautiful former dean, Dr. Nail, who supported me so
Mhm.
much, because he allowed me to continue working
Wow.
and reduce my workload.
Mhm.
So, but that's when I created VIP Ideal.
Wow.
Say, you still need to work, all right? You will have a workload reduced on teaching the classes,
Mhm.
which if I go back, I don't know how I pulled it out,
Mhm.
because I was exhausted.
Oh, I'm
It
sure.
was difficult every 3 weeks. The first week it was pain, so much pain when I received the white cell shot. The
Okay.
next day after the chemo.
Wow.
First chemo I reacted it. They
Mhm.
have to give me a lot of
The,
steroids a day before
Mhm.
what they learned for the second chemo, because I reacted really bad. Like I was burning inside.
Wow.
Yeah, I was turning red, and I have to say that my UTRGV was so much encouraging me. In terms of my colleagues, my friends, and people like uh, fighting my fight, and my angel. I have to mention Olga Morales was one of the ones who went with me to every chemo.
Wow.
It's huge, because my mom couldn't stand being there.
Mhm.
And guess what? Because of my allergy, everybody goes for 4 hours, correct?
Mhm.
But after they realized they have to go slower on the
Oh, okay.
doses of the chemo. They kind of hated me, because I was the first to start like 8 a.m.
Mhm.
and then the last to leave after 5,
Wow.
because they
That's
have to
how slow
go,
they had to
and
drip it.
that's
Wow.
yeah, how slow they have to go with me, because I will react really
Wow.
bad. And my friend Olga Morales was there every single chemo.
Wow.
Every single day we would dance, we pray, we read books, we cry, we laugh, we did so many things, but she also was the one helping me in changing, transforming the food I was eating. So she will prepare my food every single day through my chemo and through
Wow.
my radiation. And it wasn't only her, of course, but also Mari Montelongo, who organized a bazaar
Mhm.
to fundraise. And I was and all my friends, Viri and Carmen and Mari, and all my fem sisters
Mhm.
who were there, and I was just, why are you organizing all this? I felt like bad, about the money.
Mhm.
And maybe we don't talk about these things when you are trying to focus on your health.
Yeah, exactly.
But finance is a really bad thing. It was the first time I was bankrupt. The first time I saw my account be below zero,
Wow.
like I was, oh my gosh, what is this type of sickness that is taking you know, even though I was working.
Yeah.
And my friends organized this and helped me a lot because I didn't even realize I was gonna be suffering for money. I had to ask for loans, and
Wow.
yes, I had to ask for loans in order to survive this because this was very expensive.
Yeah, of course.
Being sick is very expensive. I know. I realized, for example, the American Cancer Society, they do a lot and fundraising, but because of my salary or
you
because I
didn't
was
qualify.
working, I didn't qualify to any of the
Okay.
benefits. So
Wow.
I still had to pay for copays to $220 per day for a
Wow.
radiation, for 28 radiations when I
Wow.
was on, and that was dramatic in terms of I never thought I had to worry about being able to pay, otherwise I wouldn't receive the service or continue my treatment.
Exactly.
I thought I had just to focus on eating healthy, getting my medicine, you know,
Yeah.
doing
And
the
that
best
goes-
I could.
Yeah, and that goes back to talking about the social determinants of health, right?
Exactly.
Because now you have extra stressors.
I was stressed out
and-
because every
and-
call I have to do in order, and again, the duty system helped me back then, and they said we because to reduce, you know, the copay from 220 because we have certain policies with the insurance, correct? And those policies just changed in that year, in that semester. I was just oh
Okay.
my gosh, and the thing is, they helped me through my college again, through Robert C. Backer, talking to UT, and then they got back to me and said, we did a exception, you know, we are helping you. And I went back to them and said, I'm capable of fighting back and asking for help. What about the people who do not have the strength or the capability to fight for? I have somebody else fighting for me, who was my former dean. But in this case, I wouldn't have done it by myself because I went to HR and said, there's nothing else we can do. But somebody else, another angel, took, you know, the flag to fight for me. But the thing is, why do we have to go through this? And why it has to be an exception? That's what I said. It shouldn't be an exception. You need to change your coding. Everything was just because the code say scan, and that's why the copay will go so high. I said, we need to do something about these things that people cannot be battling because you're trying to battle for your life.
Yeah.
It was once I was so depressed, I didn't want to go on. I said, that's it. I cannot go on with these treatments. They are, you know, really bad. But you know what? The only thing that kept me going besides my faith, my family, my friends, my sisterhood, and everybody, because I got every day I got something, a text, a message, a Facebook, and you know, a flower in my door because I couldn't see people, meals drop, you know, and so many books and so many things that kept me going, and cards and everything. It was seeing my students. That's when my mom said, oh, now I got it. How these guys, I understand. My mom said, I understand why are you so passionate and you don't think about working 24/7, you know, because she said the moment you went in front of the computer, or even in my chemo seat, because once I was teaching in my chemo seat, and they call me, oh, this is the teacher who teaches in the chemo seat. But I also have to thank Dr. Vargas, who I was collaborating with the College of Engineering and Computer Science with my students. So he will arrange speakers when I was on my chemo.
Okay.
So my students wouldn't miss a single class. So through
That's
my
awesome.
chemo, my students never lost any they didn't lose any class. And I was able to adopt companies through the 2 semesters. And yet, it was seeing my students that will bring me this smile. And I don't know if they saw me really bad, but they behaved so well. Those were the most amazing semesters.
Yeah, that's great
They
to
did
hear.
all their homework. They they really did so great. And then I realized, because I saw some messages in Facebook, how the students were saying how I set an example for them of resilience, because they said, if my professor, I see her, she's so strong and she's feeling sick, yet she's there teaching, what excuse do I have not to go on in life with single stuff that we complain? So it was sending a message, and I just do once a month sharing Facebook my experience, because my only message was there's no makeup for health. There's no makeup. Like, you cannot wear makeup for health. So go and do your screening. And I'm happy that some friends get back to me saying, thanks to your message, I went and did my screening and I found that I have this other sickness, not necessarily cancer. And I started treating myself. And that's my message, my daily message. I don't go so often now on Facebook, and I regret it, because yesterday was the World Day for the fight cancer, worldwide, and you see me here, correct, and happy and smiling, but I had a terrible side effects after my semi-annual screening, because of this, the nature of this cancer. I have to go to get tested every month. So I go to the oncologist clinic every month, and then I have to go every 6 months through a CT scan or PET scan, depending. And I'm reacting to the contrast, to the dye, and now it's pretty bad, because now I got a rash. I was vomiting for a week. I had many stomach ache, and I was feeling really exhausted. And I was like, come on, this is the starting of the semester, I need to get well. And I had to, when I went to receive my results, fortunately I'm cancer free again, which I'm so happy to receive those news, because I had a friend that her sister just died a week ago, because of cancer. I said, I made it, and when I received this, I'm cancer free, I cannot complain about anything. My life has to go on, because I said, I'm grateful to God that I'm still here talking to you, making sure I have the opportunity to help other women and push them to go, stop working. Work never ends, but go and get that screen that you have postponed. Go and take care, because your family needs you. You cannot be replaceable, and maybe you cannot go back to work because you find out too late. I have other cases that they found stage 4, they couldn't do anything, and they just passed away without fighting it. And just to remember. And when I got the news, you're cancer free, my doctor said, hey, but you need to stay. You need IV fluids, because you are dehydrated. And I was, okay, but at least I have these every month, the screening and the opportunity. I was dehydrated, and I said, okay, now I realize what I have, what I'm feeling so bad. And yet I had to travel, and I'm happy, because I was the joy to collaborating since the summer with Dr. Maestre in the Memory and Aging Center, and I was able to present a poster for now also on the fight for Alzheimer's. So now I have split my heart between fighting, helping people to fight against cancer, and also to prevent Alzheimer, which it has to do with, again, what you mentioned, the social determinants, the quality of the food we eat, the environment. And I have to say something, there is something in the environment in the Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah, we've talked about that, kind of at length on this show before. So yeah, that's what makes environmental factors so hard to nail down, because it could be the food we eat, the air we breathe, the water we drink.
It has to be something, because my cancer was determined that it was not genetic. So something going on here that we need to continue study, and that's what I'm happy, because also I have the privilege to know some scholars in the amazing program that Dr. Maestre guides on and amazing scholars who are doing research on also on the environmental determinants, and of course your topic, genetics and all the stuff. So I'm really happy that you invited me.
Yeah, thank you for
And that I was
coming. I
able
really
to share.
appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, it's such a great story, and we are a little bit over time, but I would still want to give you a couple of minutes to plug whatever you want to plug. So, take a couple of minutes to, of course, promote your VIP, the Market Lab, or whatever you want to promote. The mic is yours, Dr. Robles, for the next
Perfect.
couple of minutes.
Thank you so much. Well, like I said, I have my heart split into so many things. So we're gonna have a VIP Idea Lab happening on February the 13th in the CEED in 801 Bryan Road Mission. And it is focused to assist the Market Lab. Is coming back from the Robert C. Bakker College of Business and Entrepreneurship Market Lab, and we are gonna partner with them to help people understand better the customer discovery. And so that's happening on a Friday, February 13th, from 11 to 1.
Cool.
And you can look at check VIP Idea Lab Instagram, LinkedIn and Facebook in order to register for that. Also, I want to just insist that last week we have a beautiful event, Memory and Heart Connections, and we have incredible speakers, and my heart still enjoy and celebrating the great stuff that Dr. Maestre and her team, amazing team that I'm happy to be part of since summer 2000 last year. And to be part of this effort, I just wanted to mention that hopefully soon anybody from the team can come and talk about
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to
Alzheimer's,
have somebody on.
because I'm not qualified to, but if you want to learn more about the program, to get screening and to get be part of the study, which is a free and program, you can connect through memory at utrgv.edu or call 956-296-3920, 956-296-3920. And well, I just want to send a message to every person, angel, who was present in my journey of cancer, and I'm thankful because I wouldn't have been able to survive. And I want to thank Jamin Sanchez, who was and continues to be there in every step of this journey. She's my colleague at RGV. And I want to say also that I received a book called Braving Chemo from Beverly A. Zavaleta, a physician who became a patient from the Valley. I received this book from Delilah, and thank you. I'm very thankful because it really is not only the journey during cancer, and maybe this will give another podcast, but what happens to you after cancer, the transition after cancer. It is something that's another story that will give us room.
Yeah, I'm always happy to have you back on, Dr. Robles, whenever
that
you
would
have
be for
time.
another session. I also want to share, because sometimes reading, being informed, can help you prevent many things that you go through cancer and after cancer. And my cousin Sandra Robles from California, she signed me these two books: The Chicken Soup for the Soul, the Cancer book, 101 Stories of Courage, Support, and Love. And I also received 100 Feel-Good Stories. Laughter is the best medicine. So keep up with that. Do not lose your smile. Do not lose the joy, the faith that God will always open doors when we feel that's it. And to keep surrounded with angels that will nurture your life in this journey, which is really hard to go through.
Yeah, no doubt, Dr. Robles, and thank you so much for coming on the show. I know how much you do for UTRGV and your students and the community and businesses. You just do so much, and it's been such an honor to have you on. So thank you again. I appreciate your time, and thanks for everyone that tuned in. And again, sorry we went a little over time, but these stories need to be told. They're very important, and I'm glad we got to have this conversation. So thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Yep, and that's it, everyone. Thanks for staying tuned in to RGV Community Health Hour. DJ Kalicha Kid here to remind you to stay curious, stay healthy, and let's thrive together, RGV. Boom. Very nice.
Sorry,
That was awesome.
I'm
No.
trying for a little bit.
No.
I
I've gone
tried to
over.
hold it.
I've gone over before, and you don't need to hold it. Just let your emotions